to Vice President Pamela Harris, Washington, D.C. From John Cameron Weaver, Roseman, California. It is 1:01 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, July 22nd, 2023. What's going on, Madam Vice President? How are we doing? Caught your act, portions of it anyway, what the news media had been broadcasting concerning about our little favorite little Mussolini out in Florida, and everybody else seems to be replicating themselves throughout the country here, apparently. Look, when you took on the job, I guess both of us didn't realize what kind of a nightmare on Elm Street this was going to be. Even LA didn't have that much issues, but we sure know that California had its own identity crisis on some of the occasions. But this thing, Madam Vice President, my God. How does President Biden sleep at night with this? Bad enough he's got to deal with Putin and this idiocy. And then the Ukraine war going on. And then you got China and then North Korea. God knows, add to the list on this. But now we got the internal politics ripping us apart, Madam Vice President. How do we deal with this? It's the major question, isn't it? And trying to rewrite history, we got the same situation happening out here in the local. You kidding me? Orange County, Riverside County's having any issues? San Bernardino? We haven't discussed anything concerned about Kern County over here. Good Lord. You know what gets to me at this point, Madam Vice President? How many of the fools and idiots we've got in the Trumplican party of Congress? And they're no longer GOP. They are mutated. They're worse than the pod people from the invasion of the body snatchers, okay? They've changed into something else. We no longer recognize the GOP party. We recognize the Trumplican mutants. One of those mutants, who happens to be the Speaker of the House, represents Kern County. And unfortunately, Rosamond falls on the outskirts between Los Angeles and Kern County. Both of them don't want us. Both of them trying to deal with us. Actually, LA ignores us. And Kern, including McCarthy, ignores us a great deal in our little needs out here. We have our own little issues, what's going on over here. But most of them, I think they're happy with what's happening in Congress right now and with McCarthy. They keep voting the poor fool in, which makes this whole town a poor fool at this point over here. But what I was trying to get to, starch conservatisms we got going on are changing school boards left and right to where we've got books and transgender issues, and we've got control issues happening left and right. The local stuff, I know right now, is beneath you because you're in a national spotlight. I'm hoping maybe you'd pick up on the digital LA Times, Orange County Register, possibly to see what's going on with us. Or even capture the news articles on YouTube that they keep posting from the news stations. Because we are having these issues out in the school boards and in the public of what is supposed to be, and trying to get those things changed is harder than hell. But dealing with DeSantis, Madam Vice President, you're illegal. You're illegal. I think they called him a legal eagle at one time. Now you got to know, and I'm I'm not hip on it. I'm not up to speed. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a guy struggling through community college for several years in my advanced age. 57 years old, not bad. Long story short, I've got videos on my own damn YouTube channel to talk about this one. Let Secret Service have a fun time with my reporting. I'll tell you what kind of a nut job I really am. But to get back to it, Madam Vice President, I just lost my case. I just lost my mind on this one here. Because I'm still trying to wrap my head around the politics we've got today It's so different than what the politics we've had back then. How can I mean, I can try separating the Senate, Tuberville, and Ron DeSantis and his idiocy at this point over here. How can this guy run a state like a fiefdom? Now, I know the Constitution said something about implied powers. They said something about implied powers. I distinctly remember that one. But does implied powers mean that they have to run the state like a fiefdom? Locking things down left and right? It's no wonder the entire state hadn't gone up in smoke on this one, or up in arms. But apparently, Madam Vice President, they don't care enough. I mean, there are isolated sections left and right of Florida that may or may not care, but it's going to have to take a concentrated effort in the Floridians to really understand what kind of a screw up Santos is and what he's trying to do to our country. I mean, the influences of his insanity, yeah, it's already around like worse than a cancer right now. But I'm trying to find the words necessary to put this into a context where it is not. He's turning it into Mussolini Town. Back in the 1930s and 40s, if you remember your history, please tell me you remembered your history. How did Mussolini treat his loyal subjects? We have the same situation with the Trumplicans. Madam Vice President, please tell me you've heard about Jim Jones, David Koresh. If the Floridians are going to be turning into this kind of situation into the Trumplicans, they have definitely lost themselves. It's going to be up to the big businesses out there, and not to mention the other people who support them, are really going to have to throw this guy out of here because he's interfering with commerce at this point. Still sending people left and right. And shall we talk about Greg Abbott as well? How many federal laws has he been violating, and how come the DOJ haven't been investigating Greg Abbott and his stunts? Not to mention DeSantis. DeSantis has water around his state except for being the panhandle and connected to the continent. What has he got to worry about the damn water situations except making himself look like a political fool and idiot at this point? Greg Abbott is another thing right there. He has definitely got the border issues. That's agreeable. That's understandable. But what he's doing for human trafficking, that goes against federal laws, doesn't it? Doesn't that go against the laws of commerce? Interstate commerce being affected at this point over here? We're trafficking human beings now? We're allowing a state governor to traffic human beings just to make a point about the border, which is lessening and lessening, according to what news reports we're getting these days. So I don't get it on that point. Except he's trying to make his bones with the orange gas bag number 45. That's the. Yeah, we already opened up that particular Pandora's box. I'm trying to keep the lid shut on this one before I really go off in the mouth on this one. California is a border state. We are bordered with Mexico. We have a history with Mexico. What drives me crazy is the ignorant level of a lot of people in this state of what the state used to be part of, and how we earned our isolation from Mexico and became an independent state for a while until we joined up with the Union. The reason why we have a star in our flag, and we were a republic. But a lot of people don't know this stuff. So this is what happens when you go to college. Okay, background on this one. There's a lot of videos I've done, background videos on me, Short and sweet, I'm native. Born in Downey, raised in San Fernando Valley about 38 years. My family, my mother, my brother, and I moved out to Antelope Valley because the rent got screwed up and too damn expensive. So back in '05, we moved out of the valley into the armpit, the Antelope Valley. From there, I've lost my mother and my brother within the past 10, or actually 11 years. I had to struggle like crazy out here in Roseman. I'm disabled. Try having a tire hit you in the face and let's see how you feel afterwards. So, physical, mental health, I'm disabled. I'm dealing with the federal government and its programs. And because of that situation, last several years, I was actually able to get over to, well, if you happen to see the bags in the background, Antelope Valley College. There's supposed to be a teddy bear in there. So for the past several years, taking 2 classes at a time, even during the COVID nightmare, I've been struggling. My grades are about C plus to a B minus. It's not bad for 57 currently Old Fort. And this is during a time also when after my mother died in 2013, February 19th. I made a promise to my mom and my big brother at the time that I'd be heading back to college. I know what it's like when you're a young kid getting out of high school and you screw things up left and right, not to mention 2 years of college work. And you had to be thrown into the working world for about 30 years, which I had been. So I picked up a few things here and there and learned a lot. Learned a great deal of things. And learned how precious college was supposed to be. So as a old fart going on a campus, I talked to young students who are having issues with getting out of college because they can't deal with the pressure. I try to be gentle with these guys because I'm laughing at them in the inside saying, you don't know. Let me tell you my story, guys. Then tell me what the hell you're going through. Just a little one-on-one chat here and there. I'm doing the Pell Grant and the FAFSA. It's helped me a great deal. I'm hoping by next year I'll be graduating. Not with honors, but graduating, crawling out of there. I just won't have my mother and my brother with me. My brother was back in 2018 due to a stroke, and that was hard enough to deal with. Living on my own and dealing with a hell of a lot of mental health issues as well. Short and sweet. I'm struggling. I struggle every single day. I should be getting the help necessary to take care of me. I haven't been. I deal with it, if we're going to be talking about local here, Madam Vice President. I deal with a constant bug war. If you happen to see anything crawling around in the background, don't freak. That's bug war. Apartment complex infested. They can't get rid of them. Local matters we have out here. We have one particular police department that's got maybe 3 or 4 deputies, maybe 2 at night. And during the daytime, if we're lucky enough, maybe 5 or 6 for a population of 20,000 K according to the U.S. Census. We got more than that, or actually it fluctuates during that time. We got one fire department that's got 4 engines to deal with a wide berth. If you happen to have anybody doing a Google search or a Google map search about Roseman or right next to Edwards Air Force Base, you see the topography of our land. I'm on the extreme edge of Edwards. Shows you my territory, what I'm dealing with here. We have the big city issues in this place, and not enough manpower. Kern can't give us the funding necessary to take care of it, or care enough to get another police station out here, or another fire department out here on the east side. We got them all at the west side. We contract with Hull Ambulance Service for the paramedics. We have a contract with Edwards Air Force Base, a mutual contract of aid. Not to mention with LA County, if we happen to need any more fire resources. We are dealing with an arid environment here, and we are fire prone. Welcome to my life, my town. Anyway, the bigger stage is yours, Madam Vice President. It was a nice job of ripping up a Florida governor. I just wish you could also do the same thing to the Texas governor at the same time. And every other hypocritical state we've got out there are shutting down people left and right and trying to make their states into a fiefdom. This is democracy now. Or is it? Madam Vice President, I had a political science teacher in Antelope Valley College. I adored this guy like crazy. His name is John Vento. He taught me so much about government systems than the other teachers I had back in the LA Unified School District or over at Pierce College. I was there at Pierce College from 85 to 87. Well, 88 because I took an extra class. Long story on that one. LA Unified, graduated 85. John F. Kennedy High School, Granada Hills. Go Cougars. Well, I still got a shirt on that one for alumni. But what they taught me limited information back then. I learned a lot these days from a collegiate professor who is pushing his kids to get into the larger universities and pursue political science and the legal. I'd taken history classes like crazy. I'd taken English classes like crazy and political science classes like crazy because I wanted to learn more about what was going on. I wanted to learn about the world history. I wanted to learn about Western civilizations, about American culture that I never really grasped a long time ago. How we really formed. What the hell happened during those days. I also wanted to learn more about the political process that was driving us crazy. You know, the basics in and out, but then the international politics of how we're supposed to be looking at each other. You ever come across the Economics of Hitman book? We had to use that for a college book to understand a little bit more about the world we're living in and how we're viewing it and how we're supposed to be viewing it in one particular form of fashion. Professor wasn't giving us his political viewpoints except for us to have the tools necessary to form our own ideas. Scared the hell out of me when we actually had the orange gas bag win the 2006 and then tried to sabotage everything and blamed everybody else in the 2020. And now we got the 2024 and all hell breaking loose. I'm hoping that you get back in office. I'll be rooting for you. Us California's got to stick together. I ain't moving out of this place. This is home. The state's my home. I got nowhere else to live. I've seen what the outside of the state looks like. I've seen what certain towns and counties in the state looks like. Believe me, I'm stuck where I am right now. Anyway, it's been good talking with you, Madam Vice President. Sorry for chewing on your ear so much. I hope maybe one day you can actually swing by to your native state just to say hey to everybody out here. One piece of advice, if you can pass it off to the security forces at this point. Don't be surprised if you or President Biden decides to visit this particular town of Kern County. They don't exactly like you guys out here. They don't like you guys at all. They prefer if McCarthy was here or if the orange gas bag was here or anybody else in the Republican Party that they can worship. They're like that. I'm a libtard. I'm sorry, a libtard. That's what I was considered. That's what I was called a long time ago, and I earned a badge on that one. A long time ago, I did. Anyway, you have a good one, my dear. I hope to see you soon back in Cal. We miss you out here in SoCal. Take care, Madam Vice President. And if the Secret Service or any other investigative departments out there want to take a look at the rest of my videos, please do so. You want to take a thorough look at me, I got nothing to hide. The Diary of the Griefer named John Weaver, which is me.